So everyone, while we wrap up just this last bit of the slides, why don't you put where you're coming from, what city and state you're located in, and you can put that into chat, and let's see where we're all coming from, and that'll get you ready to use chat. I see Boston, Knoxville, San Diego, Champaign, Baton Rouge, Eugene, San Diego. Oh, we have Bloomington. You can see my screen okay. Thank you for your patience while we sorted out technical issues. It wouldn't be a virtual conference if you didn't have technical issues, as you know. So welcome, and I appreciate your patience. So we're going to definitely make use of chat while we're in this event. So I encourage you to keep that open. I also encourage you to make sure that your name and as we put in those instructions, your name in the participants list, which you can find down at the bottom, is your real name, because that makes it also easier for us to answer questions, or when you post questions, we can call on you and so forth. So I'll back up and I'll say, hi, I'm Catherine. I should have said that first. And I'll be your master of ceremonies more or less for today and periodically through this conference. And I'm part of the Science Gateways Community Institute, which organizes this conference. And we'll tell you more about us later. But right now, let's jump to the chase, which is, why are we here? And first of all, we are gathering here in this strange virtual room to do what we do as a community, which is to share ideas, meet people, and to learn stuff. But admittedly, this is kind of different. So I thought I'd point out a few things that I'm imagining are the case for you. You haven't traveled to be here, for example. You probably didn't even drive somewhere to log in. You may have kids or pets lurking in the background, running around. We all do, and it's distracting. So, and of course, I'm sure you have emails and work pulling at your attention. So I just want to acknowledge that, because I realize that we can't have all our attention focused here all the time, but I encourage you to do that, and as best you can, and participate. And what I want to take a moment to do is recognize the fact that someone has made it possible for you to be here. There's either someone watching the kids, or a colleague covering a meeting, and maybe a supervisor or mentor who paid for your registration to attend. And think about who that person might be. And let's do this. What I'd like to suggest you take a moment to do is text or email that person who made it possible for you to be here and thank them for it. So I'll give you a moment to do that, and even play a little bit of music for you while let's see, I don't know if this is going to work. Let me, oh, I can do that. Yes, okay. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna just play a little bit of music while you write a text or email to that person who made it possible for you to be here, because I think that's a really nice way to start out any kind of event, being grateful for the fact that you can be there. So just let's listen to some nice music for a moment, and I'll let you do that. Okay, so while you wrap that up, I'll carry on. So I'd like to tackle this challenge of the weirdness of being in a virtual meeting, the fact that when you leave this session, you're going back to your room of your house, you're not seeing other people, and we have a lot of brain power here collectively. So how can we make the most of this online conference and co-create a conference experience that leaves us satisfied at the end of this week? So I'd like to spend a few minutes, sorry about this, let's see here. So thinking about these 3 questions and jotting down on a piece of paper your answers to these questions. So first, I'd like you to look at the past and think of a memorable conference experience that you've had from any prior event, conference or professional event that you've attended, and think about what it made it memorable. And then second, in the present, how might we capture that same magic here, given that we're here online? And then third, to the future, when you leave the conference at the end of the week, what will be your takeaway? What are you hoping to have gained? It could be solving a problem, understanding a new technology, making connections with new people, anything goes. And I hope you have paper. You should have, if you received the care package, you should have this on hand to even write with your new paper mouse pad. Apologies to those who haven't gotten theirs yet, who are late registrants, but we're glad you're here. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about this now, and I'll play some nice music while we do that. All right, so with that, take a moment to wrap up your thoughts. And before the next step, I would just like to point out that sitting in a virtual room looking at this is about as exciting as talking to a real life room that looks like this. Everyone's lost on their computers and whatnot. So I do encourage you to share your video if you're comfortable with that. I have attended a virtual event with more than 1,000 people, all on Zoom, and our computers did not crash. So to the extent, if you're comfortable doing so, and particularly for the next step of this video, I hope you can this activity that you can have your video on. If you have bad bandwidth, I know some of you have told me that your system crashes if you share your video. That's okay too. Just explain it to the people you'll be working with in the next session. I also understand that if you're working from home, you may not be able to participate somehow. And if that's the case and you really don't want to participate in the next exercise, which is following on to these notes you've written, you can put rename yourself and put an X in front of your name, and we'll leave you out. And you can just sit here in the main room with us while we stare at things. So in a moment, we're going to put you into breakout rooms to meet a few people. And I'd like you to designate someone as a timekeeper, because you'll have only 7 minutes in that breakout room. And if you can't decide who will be a timekeeper, if no one volunteers, then whoever's birth month is closest to October gets to be the timekeeper, before or after. So what you're going to do when you're in this room is first briefly introduce yourselves, along with taking turns briefly sharing the memorable experience you had and your desired conference takeaway. Part of the reason for this is because if you tell other people what your takeaway is, they may actually know the answer to your problem, or be able to point you to someone that you should meet, or something like that. So I really encourage you to think about, getting the word out about what it is you're hoping to accomplish, because there are other ways of sharing that here on the Kiko Chat platform, but this is one opportunity to connect with some people and do that. And then after that, discuss and figure out how we might achieve all of what you want to accomplish, or what has been good for you in conferences. Like, how can we make that happen in an online format? Because I think in some cases, the opportunity that you have to connect online is actually more intimate and conversational than it can be when you're full of the distractions of being at a in-person conference, and the fact that you've got all these people around you and everything. So so essentially, to recap, so each of you take about a minute to share that memorable experience and your takeaway, and then talk as a group about how you might pull all of these different things together that you want to accomplish, and accomplish that in an online conference. And if you can, I'll also suggest that you take a screenshot photo of your group to remember who you met, in case you forget their names. But you can also post that even on our Twitter feed if you want, or you can throw it in the shared Google Doc, and we can see all these happy groups together. So are there any questions? I'll let you, I'll just wait a moment, and if you want to put any questions in chat about how this is going to work, what you're going to be doing is getting a button that will let you join the breakouts. But first, I do want to mention, I will also put these instructions in the shared notes Google Doc that you see on the right when you first come into the Kiko Chat room for this session. That'll just make them handy for you, so you don't have to write everything down. And do look for time reminders that are going to come along during the breakouts to let you know that when you have a minute left. So are you ready, Mike, for sending them to breakouts? We're good? All right. So when you see the big blue button to join the breakout, click it. It'll take you away from this for a moment and then put you into a breakout room. So we'll see you back here in 7 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you made some new friends, those of you who stayed in your rooms, and learned some things about each other. We're going to wait a moment while the last few people join in, because I think there's a few people. I don't know. Are there still a few people in the breakouts, Mike? Are they all back?
Closed, so they should have all been kicked
They're all back if they're here. Okay. Well then, so hopefully, so you can see my screen here. Hopefully you are here at this location of the plenary session. I encourage you to put any notes or comments, any of the ideas that you had about creating a memorable conference in those notes. right here where I'm typing. So I encourage you to do that, because we'll look at that, and it'll be something that we can reflect back on when we return to this at the end of the conference. Oh, sorry, you didn't have enough time in the breakouts. Yeah, we had to make those breakouts shorter because of the technical issues that delayed us at the beginning. It wasn't quite 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So, and I'll ask you to, if you want, in chat, you can post things that you'd like to say, or you can raise your hand in the participant list. You just click on participants at the bottom, and it'll pop up the participant list, and there should be a raise hand button there that you can click, and I'm happy to call and you can speak up. So, all right, so while that's happening, I'm gonna show you around a little bit too. So hopefully you can write in there and listen to me talk and all that at the same time. So here's our, back to the slides here. So I'm going to give you a really quick overview of what's coming during the week, because I know it's kind of confusing sometimes to understand what the layout of the week is. And a lot of us are new to this conference, but also we're all new to this virtual thing. So we have a plenary every day at the start of the conference day, whether that's 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific, or some super early hour in Hawaii or Australia. But each of those plenary sessions is going to be different. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we have Roger and Amy Ains, who have written a book called Championing Science, and it's relevant to anybody who is interested in advocating for their gateway, whether it's to users or funders. And there will be an exercise during that. We're actually looking for volunteers. So if you do want to volunteer, put a note in the in that shared Google Doc in the plenary, and I will reach out to you to just sort of warn you what to think about ahead of time. So that is going to be an interview format with kind of looking at the kinds of takeaways that you can get from their book that will help you with communicating with your funders and your users. Then Wednesday, we will have a session that focuses on the Tech Summit, which is an SGCI initiative, and that is looking at interoperability between gateways, and that'll include a panel of quite a number of people. So I hope that you can join that, and you'll have an opportunity following that Tech Summit to participate in a learning lab if you want to get involved with it. Thursday, here we have a usability and accessibility session featuring 2 experts who have seen a lot of issues in gateways, particularly our own Paul Parsons, who does usability consulting for gateways, who come to Science Gateways Community Institute. And finally, on Friday, we have the GitHub archive program, which is a really cool thing, literally, that you can find out more about. If you go to the Friday session, for example, there's a website and video linked from the resources for that session. Finally, right after that, after a break, there will be an opportunity for us to gather and talk about the future of this community. I really welcome getting your feedback and what you'd like for next year's conference, because we do pay attention to that. So I hope you can join us for that too. So every day has a break in between each of these different hour-long sessions, and the concurrent sessions each have 3 presentations, followed by 15 minutes of discussion for all 3 papers, and there will be time for Q&A as well after each paper. The learning labs are meant to be informal and spontaneous gatherings. So we have them as the 3rd session, 2nd session, and 3rd session of each of these days. And I just want to show you, we have a page about that where you can learn about find out more about the learning labs, and there's a form which is also linked from this welcome help desk section. So if I jump over here, you'll see there are a lot of useful tabs up here, and there's a form if you want to propose a learning lab based on a topic that's come up. And for example, if in your groups, in your breakout groups, you talked about something that you really wish you could explore, and that you think something might resonate with other people and they'd want to join you for that, I encourage you to set up, to propose a learning lab for that. We can have, I think, up to something like 70 learning labs if you really wanted to. I don't know if that would work so well, but anyway, those, as long as you submit an hour before that learning lab time slot that you're expecting to present in or participate in, we can add that to the schedule. And then today, the final session is the poster showcase. That is listed as a separate event. If you are on the homepage here where you land, if you just go to gateways2020.kikochat.com, you'll see up here that there is this link for the poster showcase featuring the sponsor booths. And you can talk to, if you arrive on time, we'll give you an orientation and then you can head off to look at the posters. So are there any questions so far? I'm happy to take any questions in chat, or I can come back to our plenary and see if anything showed up in the Google Doc with any questions. So nothing that looks like questions. Okay, so I'm gonna pass this over for just a moment. I wanna mention though, that of course we have breaks, and breaks are a good thing. You should enjoy them. And so besides leaving your computer, there are a few things that you can do if you stick around. So one thing is you can visit the networking lounge, which is the 5th button in the sidebar. That is arranged so that you can essentially have a little avatar that moves around, and when you get close to somebody else, you pop up into something much like a Zoom conversation, except that it's totally dynamic, and you can then wander away and connect with someone else there. You can browse the posters at any time because that session is independent of this one. You can talk to the sponsors. Their booths are listed down along the left in here, as well as in the poster showcase. And we also have these meet me at the rooms. So down here at the bottom, and I'll point out that down below here is where the learning labs will appear tomorrow. But these 7 different rooms rather, such as the coffee shop, is just another opportunity to be able to connect with a Zoom through Zoom with someone if you want to schedule a chat with someone during the break. And this is where you would click the orange button to join. I'll point out that mentors and mentees are being asked to also join the coffee shop tomorrow during the break at 2, right after the plenary, to get the lowdown on being a mentor during this conference. So, and as I pointed out, the welcome and help desk has a lot of useful stuff that you can always stop by, just like you would of the regular welcome help desk, and check out any of these tabs here for additional things about the schedule and so forth. So I hope you'll do that. So I want to briefly thank our sponsors. We really appreciate them sponsoring in this uncertain, strange kind of platform, and I hope that you will visit their booths. You can see the names of our many sponsors here, and they're someone who you can also stop by and thank them, because they're certainly subsidizing the cost of what it takes to run this conference. And on the topic of sponsors and thank yous and other people, I want to also call your attention to a less visible but equally important and crucial group of people who pulled this conference together. So these are the program co-chairs. If you see them around, thank them for helping to make this happen. They not only ran the review process, they offer their insights and thoughts as we pivoted from an in-person to an online experience, and they help figure out how to make that program work. Also, if you see them around, give a hearty hello and thank you to my tireless SGCI teammates, Cindy Wong and Claire Sturm, who have taken on extra work while my usual co-conspirator, Nighty Mullenix, is on maternity leave. So I'm very fortunate to have them helping out and very grateful. And so if you see them, I see them right now in Zoom, say hi and thank them for making this happen. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and hand off to Mike Zentner, my colleague from the Science Gateways Community Institute. And he's going to tell you briefly about who we are and what we do and why we organize this conference.
Okay, Catherine, can you see my slides again?
I can see your screen, but not in slide format.
How about now?
Now I can. Yep, you're good.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming, and I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to get together in Bethesda this year, but for obvious reasons, that's not a good idea. And we had a challenge to Catherine and team to put on a highly interactive and great useful event virtually, and I'm confident that as the week unfolds, you'll find that. So as she said, welcome to the session. And I'm not actually going to talk a lot about the Science Gateway Community Institute. I'm going to talk about you, the community, and, and why you're important and some of the things we've been seeing. But briefly, the Science Gateway Community Institute, for those of you who are familiar with it, is broken into 3 service areas that should be recognizable to you. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it consists of consulting, where we do a variety of different kinds of consulting that you see listed here on the slide. It consists of education and training opportunities. And again, many different things are listed here that we do. And networking and community, just like the event you're attending now. This is one of those networking and community events, but we host a lot of these things, and we'd like to see participation in all of them. And if you really want to dive deeper into what SGCI is, we have a booth, and I encourage you to stop by, or I encourage you to stop anybody who has the surrounding color on their box that indicates that they're SGCI personnel, and they'd be happy to talk to you about all of these things in detail. But what I want to get to is a little bit more about sort of you. And one of the landmarks that we've passed this year is we've done over 100 consultations with all the members of our community, 116, in fact, even more since this was counted. And we've had a lot of you attend events like this one and many other kinds of events that we've had over 2,000 people. We produced a large number of publicly available research products that you can access from our website, sciencegateways.org. Now, I don't say this to brag about our achievements. I say this because this is a form of saying thank you to you, the community. And through our interactions with you, you've taught us a lot about what's happening in the world of gateways, some of which we knew about before, some of which we didn't know before. And I thought I'd go through some of those learnings with you to tell you how important I think this community is and your contributions to science. First off, you've taught us that Science Gateways are about connections. And in fact, this conference, Gateways 2020, is about making connections. And I hope you take every opportunity to do that, both at the SGCI booth and all of our sponsor booths, in the networking lounges, and everywhere Catherine tells you to, because she really knows how to make that kind of thing happen. But this connection that you've taught us about has gone way beyond the initial vision of Science Gateways as basically connecting software to supercomputers. You've shown us how these assets connect to audiences that today we can count number in the millions of researchers and students accessing Science Gateways. That's not small, that's not nothing, that's big. You've taught us how gateways connect to some of the most important and expensive scientific instruments ever created. And secondarily to that, or maybe primarily to that, to the data that those instruments and those supercomputers produce, you've shown us how those connections work and connecting those data to the people in the communities. And I think most importantly, you've shown us how gateways aren't just technological things, but they actually help all of us connect to each other in our various scientific endeavors. And this community glue is a very important aspect of Science Gateways that was never envisioned if we go way back in time to think about it. Now, how has that manifested itself? If we go back to 2015 and we did a search on variants of Science Gateway in Google Scholar, we'd get about 1,700 hits. Today, as of yesterday, 14,600. This is becoming a mainstream scientific topic. Science Gateways are a first-class citizen in the conduct of science, and they have real science impact in the scientific field. And that's evident in the literature. Now, we haven't been able to do deep analysis on every gateway we've encountered, but for those who've been clients of ours, this slightly more than 100 clientele, these gateways have been cited more than 41,000 times in the literature. That's immense. That's huge science impact. The PIs behind these gateways have over 11,000 publications and secondary citations of over 500,000. Again, people doing work in science gateways and with science gateways, and the gateways themselves have an enormous impact on science. And it's not just NSF. We tend to be very NSF centric, but as we've encountered many gateways, we see them funded by almost every federal body capable of funding gateways. They address a huge swath of different topics, from social sciences to physical sciences to anything in between and adjacent. It's an incredible footprint. And they're being recognized. You as a gateway community are being recognized. Here's a case of Kim Claffey at SDSC for the work that she's done on CADA, which is also manifested in a gateway that they put up, has been elected to the Internet Hall of Fame. It includes a few other small names like Tim Berners-Lee and some other people like that. This is a very prestigious thing to happen for somebody in gateways. This is pioneering, recognition of pioneering effort. But it's not just pioneering, it's translational. In 2019, the SIM-CCS activity garnered a 2019 R&D 100 award. That's a symbol of going outside of just our scientific realm into the world of industry as well, as a translational aspect of gateways. This year, we've had 2 win the R&D 100 award. NanoHub recently won this award, and the SeedMe Lab has also won this award this year. So gateways are moving into a translational capability as well, and we need to keep that in mind. And gateways are crucial. The excellent work done by Dr. Meyer's lab at UT Austin and facilitated by personnel at TAC and some of the SGCI personnel and others you see listed across the bottom here, took massive models of COVID propagation, and within 2 weeks got them online for the public and for policymakers to see these things, and got a great deal of attention on CNN for this important work. So gateways are crucial in our fabric as well. So while we may have in, say, 2010 or a little earlier than that, sort of said the word gateways with a slightly high inflection at the end and a question mark, we're not saying that today. Today it's punctuated. Gateways are foundational, they are translational, and they're crucial in 2020 to the research enterprise. And that's not getting smaller, that's getting larger. So if I had one thing that I could ask of you for this conference, now, the end of the conference, or even after, tell both your program officers, not just OAC program officers, but your officers in the science divisions as well, some of the things that you see here, and tell them to us too. Why are gateways important to your science and societal impact? How significant of a role they play in your ability to deliver that impact? And if this community that we're talking about here today and this week is important to you, why is it important? And again, if I could ask one thing out of this conference, that's the kind of thing I'd like to see as an action, as a community, for us to continue to show the world how important these endeavors we are doing with gateways are. I'll talk a little bit more about the SGCI and some of its new service areas during the Wednesday morning plenary very briefly, but I really wanted to highlight the importance of you, the community that's here today. And with that, I'll close what I was going to say.
Terrific, thank you, Mike. In the interest of time, I'm going to move on to Boyd Wilson, who is our partner at CloudyCluster, and he also has helped to organize an award process to give people access to cloud computing support on the Google Cloud platform. Essentially, they get both Google Cloud credits and also help. And he's going to tell you about that right now. And so Boyd, if you'd like to share your slides, you're welcome to go ahead and do that.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you, and also I can see your app.
Great, so we can present.
Yep.
Excellent. So quickly, don't have much time, but this is the second year of the Cloudify Gateways solicitation. And what we have done is worked with SGCI, Google Cloud, and ourselves, CloudyCluster, to develop a way to have people take their science gateways to Google Cloud and enable them. There's the key context there. If you have interest or anything that you have questions about taking gateways to the cloud, even outside of this Cloudify Gateway solicitation, please reach out to myself or the others listed there. And I appreciate all the help from those. Real quickly, Mike just gave a great introduction to the community. Focusing here, SGCI gives some help as part of the Cloudify program to help gateways work and enable in the cloud. You can go to cloudycluster.com. It just enables research computing infrastructures in the cloud easily. We provide that as part of this solicitation. And then we also have Google Cloud participating, and they have some special pricing programs that really want to embrace research. They're doing some really cool stuff to advance that. So if you have questions there, please reach out. We can get you in touch with the people there. And just a quick plug for our hackathon that we do with the SGCI, and that is coming up at SC20. It's SC20 in the city or hackhpc.org. It's a student-focused hackathon. If there's interest, I think it's filling up or almost full, but please reach out or send me questions if you have any questions on that, or Amy. And here we are for the awards this year. Machine learning research and education on neuroscience data by connecting Google Cloud and BrainLife.io. And there's the participants there. And then each one of these after this, we're actually going to show a video and they get to introduce their own programs. But we're very excited. So we want to put the slide here so you could see that. And then the TAPIS powered science gateways, scaling on demand with Google Cloud Platform and CloudyCluster, the microbial genome atlas, and CloudyCluster, and then Exosphere, a tool for provisioning computation. So let's go ahead and roll the videos.
All right, just a moment while that happens.
Brain Sciences is one of the most important cognitive neuroscience research facilities in Italy, leading the way to advanced reproducible neuroimaging methods. Based in the United States, BrainLife is a scientific gateway that, when connected with high-performance computing services, provides over 350 data processing apps for simple and reproducible data analysis. The goal of this project is to connect the gateway to Google Cloud Platform computing services. This would allow BrainLife.io to be used for high-level, computational-intensive tasks developed by CIMEC and FPK academic communities for both research and educational purposes. This is the first attempt to connect BrainLife.io with a European research institute. Concurrently, this project would provide access to cutting-edge reproducible data analysis methods to serve a diverse and vibrant community of neuroimaging researchers.
Good morning. My name is Julian Pistorius, and I work in the Digital Innovations for Agriculture group at the University of Arizona. I am one of the core developers of Exosphere along with Chris Martin. Exosphere is a new user interface for cloud computing inspired by our experience working on Cyverse Atmosphere and helping researchers to use cloud computing. Exosphere aims to be the easiest way for researchers to leverage cloud computing resources. Researchers can use it for compute-intensive workloads, disposable experiments, as well as persistent servers such as science gateways. Currently, Exosphere supports the OpenStack cloud platform. OpenStack powers many academic and research clouds, for example Jetstream, Chameleon, and Cyverse Atmosphere. Exosphere is a standalone application and does not require any special integration or ongoing maintenance in order to work with most modern OpenStack clouds. Some researchers in our community would like to be able to use the same easy user interface of Exosphere on public cloud platforms such as AWS, Azure, and the Google Cloud Platform. This grant of Google Cloud Platform credits will help us in adding public cloud support to Exosphere. Thank you very much.
My name is Sean Cleveland from the University of Hawaii. The University of Hawaii and the Texas Advanced Computing Center partnered on this Cloudify proposal that essentially aims to allow TAPIS-powered science gateways to spin up Slurm clusters on demand in the Google Cloud Platform via CloudyCluster. So essentially, any gateway that is built on top of the Tapas framework would be able to allow its users to launch an application on the Google Cloud Platform. Tapas would essentially take the input parameters from their submission, spin up a cluster to fit the size of the workflow that they're wanting to use, then stage any data inputs into the cluster, move any application containers into the cluster, launch the job with Slurm, monitor it, then upon completion, move any output data to the gateway storage, and then deprovision the cluster. So we envision that this would allow for efficient use of Google Cloud resources, as well as flexibility for resources for Tapas-powered gateways. Thank you.
The Microbial Genomes Atlas, or MIGA, is a framework and an associated web server built to organize and catalog cultivated genome representatives of bacteria and archaea, and allows users to efficiently browse this information. Users can taxonomically identify the unknown query genomes, complete or partial, against the previously described species and identify novel organisms. To accomplish these tasks, MIGA uses the average nucleotide identity and the average amino acid identity concepts, and has several computational solutions to allow it to scale up with the forthcoming genomic and metagenomic datasets. In addition, the MIGA framework allows the pre-processing and quality evaluation of genomes and metagenomes, the comparison of thousands of genomes against themselves, and offers several additional tools for microbial data analysis. The identification of microbial genomes present in a sample after DNA sequencing is a highly relevant topic nowadays across disciplines. For example, it's a key step for pathogen identification with applications in human and non-human animal disease diagnostics as well as plant pathology. It's also an important part of environmental microbiology research, water quality evaluation, characterization of engineered microbial consortia, among many others. MIGA can be applied to all of these disciplines, and it can also be used as an effective tool in the classroom to teach students genome-based identification, comparative genomics, and big biological data analysis. MIGA is currently available in several high-performance computing centers. However, some commercial and government use can impose important restrictions on data transfers, limiting the usability of third-party HPCC. Further, educational and other applications could benefit from the scalability and affordability of cloud computing. We propose here the use of the CloudyCluster technology to leverage Google Cloud as an additional platform for MIGA, filling an important need. MIGA in the cloud will continue to deliver the high-quality results our users know, with the flexibility of a platform that can be deployed anywhere at any time.
I think that's it. So Boyd, did you want to say anything else?
We just want to thank those that took time to prepare the videos and congratulate all ththose that are the awardees and give a virtual applause.
You can, if those of you who've already gotten your, yeah, you can wave your signs. Way to go.
Awesome.
All right. So with that, I'm going to hand off to Linda Hayden, who runs the workforce development area of SGCI, and is going to talk about our Young Professional of the Year Awards, also known as the YP of the Year Awards.
All right, thank you. Welcome everybody to our Gateways 2020 conference. The workforce development component is laser focused on nurturing the next generation of gateway users and gateway developers. Next slide. So this year we have had a lot going on. We've had a coding institute that it's an entry-level mechanism for our students. 11 students were involved in that this summer with 4 weeks of engagement. We had lots of summer interns that were placed at our host sites and at our client sites, and there are 15 students involved in that. And we have 2 students who are involved in fall academic year internships, one with our clients and one at Indiana. We had a hackathon, and Boyd spoke about our joint efforts to put on these hackathons, one at PERC, and we have one coming up at Supercomputing 20. He told you a little bit about that, where we have about 40 students registered for that now. And we have mentors training, one during the summer, and we have another learning lab that's going to be held tomorrow afternoon. We do encourage you to join us for that learning lab on how to effectively mentor within our community. Next slide, please. All right, so mentoring is a lot of what we do is focused on mentoring. We have 29 students participating in Gateways 2020 this year. Real excited about that. Each of them has been assigned a community mentor. Yay, way to go, way to go. 29 students. However we got those 29 students, be it the fact that the registration cost was reduced or whatever, we're very proud of that number, and we want to make the most of this engagement with them. So each one of them has been assigned a community mentor. I'll show you those in a minute because they deserve our applause. And their images, when you're in sessions, will have a blue border around them so you can identify them. And you can send them some sort of encouraging message, some sort of welcome. If you have suggestions for next steps or you know of an opportunity, just feel free to send them a message through the chat or invite them to one of our breakout rooms. Next slide, please. All right, these are our mentors. Yay, we got to give them a hand, wave your sign, or click one of your reactions down at the bottom of your screen. Give them a clap or yay, because it's important that our mentors be recognized for the big effort they're making to encourage these students. Some of the mentors even have more than one. Yay, I see, thank you in the chat from everybody. Great, great, great. Next slide. So our Young Professional of the Year awardees are what we want to present to you today. These are, this is our way of acknowledging these young professionals for their notable achievement in the advancement of science gateways. They're students or professionals under the age of 40, and they can be from any disciplinary. They receive an honorarium of $500 and a certificate to acknowledge them. We're about to announce them in just a few minutes, but they will throughout the year be designated as our representative, and they often participate in a variety of outreach and community events. The young professionals that we have identified up to this over the past 4 years have really been an asset to our workforce development efforts. Next slide. All right, our first young professional, Leandria Gates, has been nominated by Christopher Lankos. Christopher's work in Gateways involves design of parallel malware analysis gateways that provide disassembled data from submitted executable malware samples. He is a faculty member at Mississippi Valley State University. He's helped us over the years in our hackathon efforts. He's mentored a team, brought students to our conference in 2019. He's a member of ADME, the Association for Minority Institutions and Computer Science Departments on the campus of minority institutions. They are also a partner in our institute. And he is nominating Leandria Gates. So Christopher, if you will unmute your mic, the slides will be automatically advanced.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Lanclose. I'm nominating Leandria Gates for this award. I think it's a great honor. I'm happy to actually see other people seeing the great potential and how great of a person that Leandria Gates is, or Leandria Gates, I'm sorry. So yeah, next slide. So she has helped me with the development of a gateway. We are currently working on trying to get that gateway out. Cybersecurity is my focus, and she's just assisted with that, with the front end and the back end development of that. As you can see, she's participated in a lot SGCI events. She has been an intern. She also, I think, has actually been a mentor as well in one of the events as well. So she's progressed in not only taking the advantages that SGCI has provided her, but also is now giving back to the community. And I think that's a beautiful thing. She's been a member of multiple hackathons, and I'm just proud and honored to be able to nominate Ms. Gates. And I hope that you guys can see and experience the gates that I get to.
Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Leandra, you got your video on? Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you received your certificate. If not, it should be in the mail. I know it's in the mail. But if you have it, then you just hold it up, show it to us. Do you have it yet?
I don't have it yet.
Okay, all right then. It's on the way, and so is a check. Thank you. Next slide. So David Fushman is nominating Yoshi Chen. We call her Tracy as well. David is a member of the Laboratory of Molecular Biophysics and the Center of Biomolecular Structure and Organization in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at the University of Maryland, College Park. He's been an active mentor for the last couple of summers, and we really appreciate his support in workforce development. David, if you unmute your mic now.
Yes.
We'll advance to the next slide.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to nominate Yu Shi Chen for this Young Professional Award for this year. So Yu Shi is a graduate student in computer science at University of Maryland on our campus in College Park. But actually, I want to highlight that she didn't start it this way. If I can have next slide. So she joined our Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry as a chemistry graduate student in the fall of 2017 with having a bachelor degree in material science and engineering from University of Science and Technology in China in Hefei. And she joined my group and started working on analysis of proteins, trying to develop approaches and also provide information about how they move and how they interact. And at the same time, she was taking chemistry courses, biophysics, biochemistry courses. And then she got involved in, she received summer internship with SGSI to develop a gateway, a science gateway that would allow researchers to analyze experimental data from nuclear magnetic resonance in order to obtain information about motions in proteins. So we went together to Gateways Conference 2018 in Austin, and I think it was kind of eye-opener for her. After that conference, where she presented a poster based on her summer intern research, she came back and said she's more interested in doing computer science than doing biochemistry. So after that, she joined the computer science department, where she is now a graduate student. She gave a talk, an oral presentation at previous Gateways conference in San Diego. And since then, and also was part of the poster there. So it was kind of transformation in her career from interested in doing chemistry or biochemistry to completely computer science. So if I have can have next slide. And she was, I want to mention that she was mentored during her internship by both myself and Emery Brooks. And a very important product of her research was the science gateway, which we call RODIF Web, that has been used by several researchers already. And also I used it extensively in my graduate course at UMD, which allows analysis of nuclear magnetic resonance data of proteins and nucleic acids. She also started contributing to another gateway, which we call Sparse Ensemble Selection Web Gateway. And in this afternoon, we have a poster which on the work that was subsequently done by a high school student who had internship this summer. But basically, I think it's quite remarkable what she went through and how it changed her career, and that's why I'm happy to nominate her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Appreciate you. All right, let's give her a hand. Yay. Thanks for all the good chat messages that are encouraging these young people, as a matter of fact. Now, Carol Song is nominated Nicole Brewster. Next slide, please. Carol's a senior scientist and director of scientific solutions. She's also a principal NSF principal investigator. She has a couple of awards with them, and she's with research computing. So Carol, if you'll unmute.
Yep, I have.
All right.
Yeah, I was kicked out. Our router, of all the time, it has to go back to, I don't know, the internet. Now I'm on a hotspot, so hopefully this will go well. I'm incredibly excited to introduce Nicole Brewer for this year's Young Professional of the Year Award. Next slide, please. So Nicole, she is a software engineer on my team, and with Purdue Research Computing, and she joined about a little less than 2 years ago, and she was a fresh graduate with a computer science and statistics degree from Purdue University. So she is a true boiler maker, I guess. Next slide, please. So a couple of things I like to point out, and this slide is a very nice summary of how she, what her background is and the activities she's involved in. I want to mention that Nicole, I feel that her first broader exposure to cyber infrastructure was at PERC 2018. I hope I'm right about that. And she presented a poster. She was funded by our Women in HPC program at Purdue, and she won the Phil Andrew Award for her work. So that was a tremendous accomplishment, and also probably an eye-opener for her to see, what else are going on there. And since that conference, she joined my team, and we do a lot of Science Gateways work, and she's involved in at least 2 projects, specifically development on Science Gateways. Next slide, please. Right, so the Gateways projects are listed there. She has been, of course, we immediately throw her into a lot of different things, and that's the nature of Science Gateways work, right? It involves lots of scales, different skills, and also it's not just software development. As you develop, you need to know about what it would look like for end users. And another thing I want to highlight is Nicole is very active in working in the Women in HPC program. She's the co-chair right now at Purdue, and she's single-handedly starting this very ambitious project podcast titled Long Tail of Science. And we're looking forward to a lot of great things from Nicole. And I think this is a exciting milestone for her, being awarded this Young Professional of the Year.
Yay. Congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. Yay. Now, Mattel is nominating Juan Marias, and he is, she has a video. Of course, Maytel is the video queued up. Maytel's the
Yep, it's on its way.
Computing, okay, and advanced computing interactions, and she's also part of our Gateway leadership team. Co-PI of the Science Gateway Computing Institute.
Here it comes, just a moment.
Okay.
I know Mike is getting it ready in the background here.
My name is Maytal
There
Dahan,
it
and I'm
is.
one of the co-PIs of the Science Gateways Community Institute, and I oversee the Scientific Software Collaborative Group, which is in charge of projects such as the SGCI Catalog and the New Tech Summit that you'll hear about later this week. I'm also the Director of Advanced Computing Interfaces at the Texas Advanced Computing Center at UT Austin. I'm proud to present the Young Professional Award to Juan Martinez Ramirez. I wish I was there to give it to him in person, but Juan is an amazing Science Gateway developer. He works as a Java web developer in the Web and Mobile Applications Group at the Texas Advanced Computing Center. Juan has a background with a master's in computer science, web application development specialization, Java web application development, and a bachelor's in computer engineering. Juan has also worked on a variety of Science Gateway related projects, including the SGCI catalog, available at catalog.sciencegateways.org, the Frontera web portal, and the Exceed user portal. Juan's interest includes UX design, web and cloud computing environments, and computational portal systems. It's been my honor to work alongside Juan for many years, and he's been an invaluable contributor to the Science Gateways catalog. Congratulations, Juan, and thank you for everything that you do.
Yay. Thank you, Maytel. So I really want to thank everyone in the community. Next slide. Let's keep those slides going. Okay, next slide. Next slide. That's it. I just want to encourage you to continue to work with our young professionals and encourage them throughout the conference. Whenever you see that blue box around their screen, give them a wonderful welcome. And I'm real excited about this group of our new young professionals that are joining us. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your conference.